राज्यवर्धन सिंह राठौर।
राइट, नमस्कार। मुझसे जो बुजुर्ग हैं यहाँ पे, मुझसे जो बड़े हैं, उनको प्रणाम। मेरे साथियों को सबको नमस्कार। वेरी वार्म गुड इवनिंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू। It's an honor, it's a privilege that we come all the way here and you've gathered here to be here, to listen to us, to perhaps interact. It's hardly a speech actually. It's of course like a fast food speech as well. मैं तो अभी आया ही था and my turn has come already to speak. I don't really feel that we need to address you as a gathering where it has to be a one-way communication. The whole purpose of coming to United States right now is multifold. But of course, the immediate reason is the 28th of September when our Prime Minister is coming here. So let me just straight away clear it out that this is the Prime Minister of India coming here. He is not a leader of a political party coming here. When Mr. Chandrakant stands here and says that we are going to be in power, he means India is going to be in power. It's not to say of any political party, of any affiliations, of any philosophy, any ideology. I truly believe, and we were discussing this while on the way here, a nation cannot have different ideologies. A nation which is now at the threshold of becoming one of the great nations of the world must have a single ideology. We can have difference of opinion in the sense of how to go about development on smaller issues, and after those issues have been thrashed out and discussed, then the decision has to be unanimous. And today is a time when we need to stand united and be seen united. I'm a Fauji, I'm a military guy, and therefore I like to be frank. Mr. Chandrakant said that there's a large community presence here, leaders of different communities. I'm sorry, I don't really see that. But nevertheless, what I truly believe is that from here you can go and communicate to them. That's what you can do. We've come here to communicate with you. I'm sure you can communicate to them and thereby become force multipliers. Inform them that we've always spoken about India and said that there is a systemic failure of this country, of India. It's been there. We have to accept it. There's been a systemic failure in this country, but how long will that systemic failure carry on? And nobody is going to come here and offer us a great nation on a platter. We have to build that nation. And what better than if this happens in our lifetime? And what better that in the development of this great nation we can say we have a part to play. So yes, there is a bright spark. There's a silver lining. There's hope in one of the great leaders in India who's now become the Prime Minister. He's enthused confidence in everyone. But can we leave it only to him to make a country? No. And therefore, we all need to get together. You have made a life for yourself. I know it. You made a life for yourself. You made a life for yourself despite difficult conditions, and I know that as well. You came to US with dreams, and you fulfilled your dreams with your determination, hard work, sacrifice, integrity, loyalty. Those are your qualities. And that quality, I dare say, has been given to you somewhere from your father and mother who belong to India. And therefore, you may be US citizens, I don't care. You may be NRIs, I don't care. What I care is there is small India within you. And that small India is asking for your support and help today. You have succeeded.
There are millions of others, young Indians, who have the same dreams that you had once. Perhaps you can help them grow. Perhaps you can give those ideas which you have now with your experience. And perhaps with your combined strength, India can project to this whole world that India has a right. India has a way. We need to be confident today as a nation, and we have enough evidence and proof to be confident that India can become a great nation. If you look at the campaign, if you recollect, I'm sure you all followed the campaign when it happened. I've never heard of a political leader who did 470 rallies non-stop without a single one missing out, covering 3 lakh kilometers, which is like 8 times going all over the earth or going once to the moon, and falling back to Gujarat, Ahmedabad every night to strategize for the next day, who made the Congress party, which has been ruling the roost for many years, react for 1 full year, who took away the privilege of all the national networks to run and decide on agendas for the day. He took away that privilege and he decided the agendas on the television every day. Now such a man with such a vision and such hard work, who can very clearly say that he worked harder than any other Bharatiya Janata Party worker, if such a person comes as our Prime Minister, as our leader, what else can we ask for? And after becoming the Prime Minister, in 2 flat months, he first demonstrates that he wants to consolidate the neighborhood and shakes hands with the SAARC countries that we, as India, calling ourselves a regional superpower, had forgotten about our neighbors. We were antagonizing our neighbors, so to say. We had forgotten about Nepal, which is a buffering country between India and China. And I mean, you all read about it, that after 17 long years, did a Prime Minister of India first visit Nepal. So he has taken decisions which are not just nationalistic, but so to say international. Because we've always spoken of India as a power, as a superpower, as a regional superpower. So there is always a time to project your power. And what better than to call all the neighboring countries for your oath-taking ceremony, and then, of course, to go to SARC, to go to the BRICS in Brazil, and put a stamp of India there as an equal and strong partner as China is. And what great strength when he could have asked for all the adulation of the world when he says, I will not sign the WTO, keeping in mind the necessities and the requirements of the poor farmers. Such is the strength of his commitment, such is the strength of his personality. And therefore, today when India is embarking on perhaps becoming one of the great nations of the world, we need your support, we need your attention, we need your help. And you need to demonstrate it, like I said right at the beginning, by showing up on the 28th of September. By calling your friends and asking them to show up to be there on the 28th of September. In his speech on the 15th of August, did you all hear it?
Yes.
Do you feel proud? Yes. This was the first time that I went to 15th August, and I went purely for the reason that you want to hear a Prime Minister of India speak from Lal Killa. You want to hear a tiger roar from Lal Killa. You don't want to hear a leader of a nation whimper from there. And that was the reason I went to Lal Killa to hear, and what a speech he gave. And what a vision he gave. He spoke about women there. He spoke about making in India, so that he welcomed the nations across the world to come and make in India. He spoke of manufacturing. He spoke of development. He spoke of youth and him giving them employment. He spoke of the infrastructure development that needs to take place. He spoke of peace And I was very happy, even as a military officer, I was very happy he ignored Pakistan, which is usually spoken of in the speeches. It's not so important for us. What is important is our own nation, what is important is our own youth. What is important is that we become stronger, and we need to focus internally. So without taking your time too long, thank you so much once again to give me the honor and privilege to speak in front of you. But I do wish that you go back from here and make at least 10 calls each, asking your friends to communicate further and requesting them to be there on the 28th of September and make this occasion a grand success. And I can assure you, our coming here and Prime Minister's coming here is just the beginning of a long relationship. Thank you so much.